I tell people all the time, boxing allowed me to get a lot of my anger out just like anything else and deal with certain things but Muay Thai is what saved my life. And so almost 15 years, we're about 13 years in for Muay Thai, and it utterly changed my life. Just the
Wow.
entire respect of it and competing and seeing the difference in how the respect is given between the fighters, especially after the fight. I love the ceiling of the ring, the Y crew, everything about it is beautiful. And then the amount of respect after the bout is amazing. And the friends I've made, even in the losses I've suffered, the friends I've made has been utterly amazing. So
Yeah, well, keep in mind, I mean, for them, it was a tradition.
yes, sir.
It's just not a sport. It's a
Yes, sir.
tradition. And you're talking about the little kids, and you've been to Thailand and talking about the little kids that are out there kicking the
Yeah.
banana trees and all that. That shit does happen. And but it's a whole martial arts type of thing. And it was a trip because when I was in the taekwondo, we had the gis, right? And I'd
Mhm.
be walking back to the base, and all the cab drivers, Sawadee kap, kunao toy my cap. Toy my cap, they would all be messing with me, man. So,
Yeah.
so no, it was a blessing. So my school was ASK, the American School of Kickboxing,
Oh
and
man.
I opened it up with just a credit card, But Javier Mendez now, that's a top trainer that trains Habib and all these guys. I worked with him, Dennis Alexio, and
Hmm.
I mean just so many of the great guys at that time, and that's how I got started. That's my whole passion, and and at work, I mean, hey, bro, I went up to the Buddhist monasteries, I had lunch with the monks. I
Hmm.
went into the jungles and, I mean, I did, boy, pom Thai. I was tired. Shit, I was tired at that time, bro. Yeah. Shit, I came back a different man.
Shit, I'm about to go wait in this place when you dropping the bass in. The beat is like the streets of awaken. I'm making to break my foot off of somebody's ass. I'm waiting for someone to say my name so I can annihilate them. Okay, then everyone was screaming the rape when I was kicking at the gate till it caved in. Belly scraping by, but now I'm paid. Look at the paper I raped and I'm caking like Jay-Z and Drake. And I hate when people say that I ain't killing shit. The game is my playpen. I punch you in the face and end up breaking your break bands. I'm far from Hollywood. I'm posted up at the days in. Even though the industry say I'm the latest sensation. Drop the stuff at the board show. Becoming complacent. Mama saw me on TV with just a bum in the basement. You were catching save a whole
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the You Control You podcast. You already know how we do. What am I grateful for today? Of course, family, God, family, life overall. What I'm most grateful for this weekend, or this Monday after this weekend, is if you've been following my journey, didn't come from the greatest childhood, and being able to watch my 15-year-old son just get to do the things he loves and play sports and excel at sports and just do it with a big smile on his face. When I played football, I just did it because I was angry at the world and just wanted to knock everybody's head off. And so to see my son just play because he absolutely loves it and then plus watching him get really mad that he didn't play the best and going over film study with him is just that I'm really grateful for that, and what a blessing that I get to enjoy that as a father. So now, without further ado, I have this legendary icon. I am still blown away that I'm able to sit here with this man. Most of you know him from either boxing, MMA, kickboxing. Some of you that maybe aren't into the fight world maybe have seen him on the Creed movies working, but I'm sitting here with the one and only Stitch Duran. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing all right, man. You got me up early in the morning, bro.
I,
Normally it's not I don't get up till 10 in the morning. But this
I
is a special interview, man. I appreciate you.
Oh man, thank you. And I appreciate you going through all the technical difficulties with us. Not only
Yeah.
did this man get up early to get to do this with us, but he had to go through some technical difficulties, with technology. That's just how it is. So,
Yeah.
man, sir, let's get right into it. How's
Sure.
life? How are you? How's the family? How's everybody doing?
Thank God, man. We're all blessed, and I just every day I just thank God that I'm doing what I'm doing. And people say, "Well, when are you going to retire?" I said, "From what?" I said, "What I'm doing. It's not even a job, bro. It's an adventure, right?" So
how can you retire from adventures? But I've been blessed, man. So thanks for having me on. And yeah, you know it has to be special. And I love your voice, by the way. Once you turn it on, you sound just like a DJ. But
Thank you.
I'm sure Corey's helping you with the sound. So got to give him some credit.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And I appreciate that. So here's a question right off the bat.
Yeah.
How did you get into this? How did you become a cut man? Taping people's hands? Like, if people don't understand, I use your tape at our gym. The way you tape hands is the way I started taping hands, watching your videos on and doing it, and then seeing the different styles of rapping and taping hands and speaking with other people in this profession. They all look to you. So how did you get into this profession?
Yeah, well, you got to read the book, bro. It's at Amazon.com.
Let's go.
No, it is. It's called From the Fields to the Garden, and we'll talk about that down the road. But now, I have a great history. As we talked, before we got on the air, they're in the finishing touches of a documentary in my life called From the Fields to the Garden, the same as the book. The book I wrote when I was with the UFC, like 10, 12 years ago, and became a top seller. So, but anyway, it just, this gives me the opportunity to kind of express and show everybody what has happened, with me in my life. And so I've been real blessed with just doing the things that I'm doing. But I grew up as a farm worker in the Central Valley of California, and I always wanted to play baseball. All Mexicans play baseball, right?
Yeah.
And so I walked on to Merced College, which was like 9 miles away from my town, and I didn't have a car. So I would go to school with friends, and after school they would leave, and I'd stay in practice with the team, and I'd have to hitchhike home. And so I knew nothing about grants and scholarships. You were talking earlier how, we've all had a tough life somehow, right?
Yes, sir.
And but I didn't know. So I joined the military in 1972 in the Air Force. Well, first I was going to go in the Navy. I mean, show you how life takes me, because my brother Michael, a year older than me, was in the Navy, and I went and I took the physical, and I flunked my physical because my knee popped, and I had hurt it playing baseball. So the doctor says, "No, man, you got to go get surgery." And I was all bummed out, man. But the Marine recruiter, there was he's the one that tried to get me to go to the Marines. And I said, "No, no, no." I said, I don't want to go to Vietnam. I just want to serve my country. But he's the one that got me into the Air Force. So I never knew his name and all that, but he sent me to Oakland, and he says, "Well, just don't tell him about your knee." And I did, and I passed, and I joined the Air Force. And I always said if I went to the Orient, I'd always want to study the martial arts. That was during the Bruce Lee era, way before your time. And so anyway, they stationed me in a place called Thailand, and shit, I didn't even know what Thailand was. And I had friends that were there like 3 months before me, and they were already acclimated, so they took me downtown Banchan to see some fights, and I didn't even know Muay Thai fights were about. This guy threw a kick and kind of knocked the guy out, and I said, "Oh, all right." So on the base they had Taekwondo, but Taekwondo Thailand sounds the same. So I started taking that, and the Koreans kind of filtered off, and the Thais took over, and they kind of transitioned us, and yeah, so that's how I got started and got back to the States. And I lived in Oakland, and I got into boxing just to improve my hands, and started working with amateur fighters. And then I moved out to Fairfield, suburbs, 40 miles away from Oakland. And I opened up a school of kickboxing with just a credit card. And so I was a trainer, before I was a cut man. And I had to learn to be a cut man because, I worked with a lot of high-end world-class fighters. And, of course, when you use elbows and all that, they get cut. And so in that era, now you said you learn from watching my videos. And the reason I do those is because I'll never forget Marvis Frazier fought Bone Crusher Smith in Richmond, California. And I went to go see it. I had my school of kickboxing, but I was making the transition into being a cut man also. And I asked this guy that did a good job in one of the cuts in earlier fights. I said, "Look, I'm trying to learn to be a cut man. Can you tell me what you did?" He says, "Fuck you." He says, "I'm taking this to my grave, and you got to learn like me." And he walked away. I felt about this big, bro. I said, I'm never going to be like this guy. So that's why you got that video. So my job is to teach. It's not even about making money. I put a video out about 4 months ago called "Giving the Fighter One More Round." It's at stitchduran.com, and it's only $50, but it shows you how to wrap hands for boxing, for MMA, how to work cuts, how to work the swelling, the medication, everything that I know. I put it in a seminar form for $50, but it's to teach. That's my whole legacy, bro. Just to, at the end of my career, what did I do? Is hopefully I help make this game a lot safer.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So I own a Muay Thai kickboxing gym. I've been to Thailand, trained. I coach MMA fighters as well. And I started back in '99. I started boxing over at Rufus with Rick Rufus. And so I started boxing with those guys. And so it's, man, one of your first things, Muay Thai. That's just amazing.
I was. This is 1972, bro. Number one, I didn't know what Muay Thai was, and Muay Thai was non-existent in the United States.
No, not at all.
And it was not. And I tell you, when I got back home, my whole family didn't know I trained that. I mean, I literally ate, slept, and shit Muay Thai, and I hung out with Thais and spoke the language pretty well. I was there for a whole year, right? And but yeah, it kind of changed my whole life. And
oh, yeah, that's amazing. That's during
that's crazy. But Rick Rufus. I used to work with Dennis Alexio. Dennis Alexio was a heavyweight champ of the world at that time, and Rick Rufus was the top dog, and Jean-Claude, Jean-Yves Theriault, and all these guys. But I had a solid stable of fighters, and it's funny. About 3 weeks ago, they had the IKF convention here, tournament. Well, going way back, I'm the one that promoted the first IKF fights for Steve Fossum, and I had the first champion out of IKF. That was Andy Sanchez. So when they, I gave up the what fight was that? Oh, Pacquiao fight. I'd rather go to IKF and just go back. Steve Fossum was the president that put it together, and he passed away. But Johnny Davis. So I went over there, and just for the roots, nothing more, just to get my roots back, And
that's awesome.
So yeah, so that's. But I went back, and one of my instructors, Master Sken, now he's up in England, and he brought Muay Thai to the Manchester area. I went back home or back to England, and he certified me as a crew and all that. So yeah, it's that's what got me going,
awesome.
Man. Yeah,
that's so awesome. Yeah, no. I tell people all the time, boxing allowed me to get a lot of my anger out, just like anything else, and deal with certain things. But Muay Thai is what saved my life. And so almost 15 years, we're about 13 years in for Muay Thai, and it utterly changed my life. Just the entire respect of it, and competing and seeing the difference in how the respect is given between the fighters, especially after the fight. I love the ceiling of the ring, the Y crew, everything about it is beautiful. And then the amount of respect after the bout is amazing. And the friends I've made, even in the losses I've suffered, the friends I've made has been utterly amazing. So that's a small world there.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, I mean, for them it was a tradition.
Yes, sir.
It's just not a sport. It's a tradition. And you're talking about the little kids, and you've been to Thailand, and talking about the little kids that are out there kicking the banana trees and all that. That shit does happen.
Yeah.
Right. And but it's a whole martial arts type of thing. And it was a trip, because when I was in the taekwondo, we had the gis, right? And I'd be walking back to the base, and all the cab drivers, Sawadee ka, kunao toy, toy my cap. Toy my cup, they would all be messing with me, man. So, it was a blessing. And so my school was ASK, the American School of Kickboxing. And I opened it up with just a credit card, but Javier Mendez now, that's a top trainer that trains Habib and all these guys. I worked with him, Dennis Alexio, and I mean, just so many of the great guys at that time. And that's how I got started. That's my whole passion. And, and at work, I mean, hey, bro, I went up to the Buddhist monasteries. I had lunch with the monks. I went into the jungles, and I mean, I did, boy, bom Thai. I was tired. Shit, I was tired at that time, bro. Yeah. Shit, I came back a different man. Yeah,
I feel that. No, that's amazing.
Ah.
That's absolutely amazing.
And you're the first one to ever hear this story. I've never really told. Was it because you can't associate unless you've been there.
Yes, yes.
And to think that I was literally one of the pioneers. As you look back at it, night who was in Thailand in 1974. Shit, I was.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things that I was going to touch on is you were there during what we call I guess what we call now is the golden era of Muay Thai. When you watch these fighters, it's bananas. Like, they're great now, but I love looking back at the films of all these great fighters that came up through the stadiums. And yeah, America didn't have a clue. The U.S. had no idea. It didn't even, the crossover didn't even happen until Rick Rufus got his leg smashed in after breaking the guy's jaw and had to get carried out. And then it started to click over a little bit more. People understood it a little bit more. So that's amazing that you were way before all of that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh, man.
I'm telling you, it was a trip, man. Just to really understand the culture. And I mean, because number one, when I was working as a cop, I was a cop in the Air Force, and our job was always to protect the B-52s, the bombs, because that was the base where they would load the B-52s up, go to Nam and drop them and come back. So we had to protect that.
Yeah.
But so it was always me and a Thai guard. And that's why I picked up on the language. Everything I did, I wrote it down, and Sawadee Kap, Kun Sabadia, Tamalai Kap, and I wrote it all down, and and it came back, and it's pretty badass.
You are really fluent in Thai. This is amazing right now. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's a Cuban coach here, Salas. Great coach, but he was in Thailand many years, and he worked with the Thai boxing court. But he also became a nun, a monk. He also became a monk, right? And he showed me pictures and all that. Well, he's Cuban, I'm Mexican. Shit, we're speaking Thai.
Yeah, fluently.
Yeah.
Like,
with
the accent and everything. Like, it's amazing. You are hitting it perfectly.
I tell you, it was a passion, man, and just to spend every day, and as a martial, I'd be on post, working. I'd be up in one of the towers or something like that. Hell, I'd be stretching, and I'd be doing this and all that, and and it's hot and humid because we're right on the beach in the jungle, and your uniforms would be all wet, but that's
the life.
That was a lot.
I'm hoping to go back. I was there last summer. I'm hoping to go back next summer. It's like my guys always go there every year now. Like, some of them just got back this past week, and we have a great partnership with the gym over there. And they treat us very well. But now that's awesome. That means you really got to enjoy fighters like Samart and like just all these golden era Thai fight. Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah, Saksan was actually Saksan was that was during my era.
Yeah,
and then after that, a lot of the Thais. Saksan was the first one. After that, a lot of the Thais started coming in, and by then I was already making a transition out of that. But yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
and we still every once in a while we'll see each other. Saksan, Sawadika, Tamalaka, goodbye, bye night, bye night.
But I tell you, if people don't understand, I first of all, you go to Thailand. This is also blew my mind about Thailand. At least in Bangkok. Now, I was able to travel outside of Bangkok and not just stay in Bangkok, but it's like 7-Eleven everywhere in Thailand now. And when I say Stitch sounds I feel like I just walked into a Thai place right now. And I'm like, that's amazing. That's utterly amazing. Yeah. And let's stay with Muay Thai because I mentioned Matt Brown earlier, and you said you had a great story about the
Yeah, Matt Brown.
Immortal Matt Brown. Now that's my guy. So I'm waiting to hear this story. This is going to be awesome.
So this is in favor of Matt Brown. I love Matt, right? Worked a lot of his fights and all that. But in this one, he's fighting Drago, Pete Sell.
Mm-hmm.
And he's beating the crap out of Pete Sell to the point where the referee stops the fight. And Pete Sell, he's arguing with the referee and the doctor and all that. And I come in and I look at him and I said, Drago, look at me. You got knocked out. You got knocked out, I said, twice. He looks at the doctor and the referee. He goes, Stitch, I believe. But Matt Brown, but Matt Brown just pummeled him big time, man.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that I'll never forget. I always tell that story. Well, whenever I do that, Pete Sells, he says, yeah, Stitch, I believe. And but yeah, I worked a lot of match fights, a lot of them. If you see him, tell him I said hi.
I got you. I'll send him. I'll actually send. Yeah, I got you. I will definitely.
Yeah, tell him about that moment. I'm sure he'll have his own memories.
Yeah.
And just like John Jones, I hadn't seen John Jones. God, I've been gone 10 years. I think 2 weeks ago was my 10th anniversary leaving the UFC. But he brought me in to work that dirty boxing that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I told John I hadn't seen him in all time. I said, look, man, I just want to let you know, when you fought Chael Sonnen and you broke your toe, I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
When you broke his toe, it was pointing one way. After the fight, the doctor says, Stitch, what do you think? And the doctor's asking me, right? And so I got the toe, and I was telling Johnny, and I kind of straightened it out, and then I taped it. I just came out with my Stitch Premium tape, and that's what I used to tape his toe. And the camera's got a scope of it. I said, man, you were my first commercial. So it's a little moment. Yeah, he started laughing, man. And the same thing with John. I worked all his fights, and but that was cool because when I'd wrap his hands, he's always looking here, talking to people and all that. I made him pay attention. I said, no. I said, look, open, close, open, close. You're in my time right now, brother.
I feel that. Oh man. So you've worked so many fights, and you've been blessed to work with so many different fighters in different organizations. Now,
yeah.
I don't know if you have a preference, so I don't want to word the question that way. But do you, if they told you had one more fight, one more fight to really work a corner in, which, if you had to choose, would it be boxing, kickboxing, MMA? Which do you think you would lean towards if they said, this is it? This was the last one?
Oh, good question. Nobody's ever asked that one. Hold on, man. I got to go back to my roots. I could go deep into the roots, but I got to do it in Thailand. I'd have to be Muay Thai fights.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, Lumpini Stadium was like the big thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, you go there and you're doing okay.
Yes, sir. That's funny. That is one of our goals. If having our fighters fight right there.
Yeah.
That might be, I think for me, that might personally as a coach, that's probably a bigger goal for me than even coaching in a UFC fight right now, just because of just the understanding of how big it would be and the understanding the culture and being there and watching fights and listening to it and how the music speeds up as the round gets late. It's a different kind of feeling, man. It's as you know already. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but that's amazing. It will be a Muay Thai fight. Yeah, I did not expect that.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. But listen, I'm 73 years old, man. I've been all over. I've done all this, but it'd be nice just now that you mention it. Shit, I'm talking to my wife about going to Thailand for about a week or two.
Let's go.
And just hang out, man. The base I was at, Utapao, was like it was touching the ocean and beautiful beaches, and then the other side of the base is jungle. So we had them all, right? And so yeah, I was living the life, man.
That's awesome.
I was literally in a Bruce Lee movie. So that was a blessing.
Now you talked about, but again, before we got started, you talked about how with the Klitschko brothers and Brock Lesnar, you had to do different things just to get their hands in the gloves.
Yeah,
and first of all, it's just mind blowing to hear. How did you? How do I want to phrase this? How did you Did you just say, yeah, Vaseline? Like, we'll just slide this bad boy in? Or was it trial and error? Like, how'd you figure it out?
Hell no, it worked for the Klitschko's. It worked for him, you know. So and nobody's ever done that, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's legal in the States, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But let me do this. Give me a second. You know, you can see me, right?
Yes, sir.
Give me a second. Hold on.
I think I know what he's about to do. This is about to be mind blowing.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna blow your mind big time. So this is a UFC glove, right?
Yes, sir.
Bro, this is a Brock Lesnar glove.
That's insane.
Look at
That's insane. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
And I got it. Yeah. Yeah, he signed it for me and everything.
Oh,
and
man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I had to show you that. So
yeah, that's a huge
it's
size
a big
difference right there.
Yeah.
Those
and
are
it's
some
cool,
amazing
man, because
details.
when Brock Lesnar came on to the UFC, same with Crow Cup, they came with stipulations that I'd be the one working with them. And my daughter is a big WWE fan, so when Brock came for his first fight after the weigh-ins at the Mandalay Bay, and never forget, we go in the back and I do a test run on his wraps, and the day before the fight, right? And I always do that with new fighters anyway. Is I'll do a test run and make any adjustments. So anyway, cut them off and give them to my daughter, and
nice.
so she got the first pair of
man.
gloves. But I did the reality show with him. I was the coach or the cutman in his team, and these fighters. Every show that I did, they always give me a tank top with the team that I work with, Couture, BJ Penn, and all that. Well, I told Brock that, and he brought me a whole bag of stuff, which was nice. Yeah, just super guy, man. You know, and he always treated me extremely well. And
that's awesome.
So I've been blessed.
The way you described the way you just described doing your job, or as you said, your adventure.
Yeah.
My wife is always on me. You're going to retire one day. And I'm like, from what? I'm like, this isn't work. I get to wake up and coach people. No, this is what I love to do. So when you said adventure, I think I'm going to steal that one. I do like the way you worded that. So, but the way you described it sounds really no different than how, as a coach, we prepare for fights, or how we tell the fighters to mentally prepare and go through it. You're wrapping their hands the night before and then making adjustments to that. Now, what do those adjustments look like? So if you take someone, the Klitschko's or a Matt Brown or Andre Ward or Brock Lesnar, or anyone, Kane, anyone you've worked with, what do those adjustments look like?
Yeah, a lot of it is psychology, but you look at injuries, where injuries, if they have any injuries. Let's say I'm wrapping your hands for the first time, right? So we sit you down and I look at you, I say, hey, man, how the hands feel? You know, any injuries, any problems, and, you know, and all that. But metacarpals, number one injury, right? You know, you punch and boom, you do that. And so that's number one. So you always want to protect the metacarpals and do it as tight as you can. All this you can do as tight as you can. Not so much on the bottom, because that's where all the veins and all that go, and you don't want to close them up. But you make your adjustments. Some guys like less padding than others, you know. So you go through, it's what I call a dress rehearsal. And you go then that way the next day, because psychology is a big you brought that up. So, and you know, with your fighters, psychology is a major thing. It's a hurt business. So you gotta, these guys have to, you gotta baby them. And even though they're gladiators, 100%, and but when you wrap their hands come fight time, then that is off the shoulder. You mentioned Andre Ward. Virgil had Hunter, his coach, had told me that he had hurt his hand during training, and this is getting ready for a fight, I think with Edison Miranda or something like that. So the night before, I go to his room and I wrap his hands, and I make little adjustments here, little adjustments there, to the point where he felt comfortable. And come fight time, that pressure was out of his mind. So, so psychology is, well, that's major. I mean, how many times have your fighters hugged you and kissed you after a fight and say, "Man, thanks, I love you." And that's
almost every time you go through a lot of hell through those camps, and just the mental, and I've talked about it on the podcast, like it's just the mental wear and tear of it, especially as you get closer to the fight and now you're weight cutting and it just gets harder.
That's the worst part.
Yeah.
You know, but I years ago, before Mike got his tattoos, I interviewed Mike Tyson, and I said, Mike, every fighter has that one little thing that nobody has. What's that one little thing? And he said a couple of things. Well, he goes, you got to get your body in 100% physical condition, because your mind will tell your body what to do, you know, or your body will tell your mind what to do. And but he said the one I liked is take the pain. You got to take the pain. And as I left, I said, man, he's so right, because you take a pain in training, take a pain in fights, you take a pain with your family, as you mentioned, you take a pain financially, you know, and hopefully you don't take long-term damage pain. And but it's a hurt business.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That was, you're hitting the nail on the head on that one.
Yeah. Eddie Mustafa Muhammad was a former world champion boxer. He says the ultimate goal of a fighter is to render his opponent unconscious.
Yep.
And that's the knockout. And the knockout what creates long-term damage.
Yeah. That's it's so funny talking about fighting, because it is extremely brutal. And there's whether you're fighting, you're coaching, if you're any part of this business, when you're working in that corner, all you want is your guy, your fighter to go knock that person out and not get hurt themselves, and be able to go home and be okay. And it's the craziest thing in the world when you really take the time to think about it. That's
well, and you understand, because you've been on both sides, right? And you know the mental game and all that. And Andre Durrell, when he fought Jose Esquidigi, that was the rematch. And if you remember, Andre Durrell's uncle is the one after in the first fight, the end of the fight, he went up to the other corner and he hooked him, the fighter, and dropped him, and there was a big old fight in the ring. Anyway, on the rematch, Andre Durrell is taking the kind of shots that I look at as long-term damage.
Yeah.
Kind of going through here and come out through here, right?
Yep.
And I'm looking at the ringside doctors, and they're kind of talking amongst themselves. And so when the bell rings, it's 7th, 8th round. You know, I go in there and I said, look, the doctors are thinking of stopping the fight. Do you want to continue? And just him and I, and whispering. And he gives me that little slight no, and it's all right, stop, I told the referee. And Virgil Hunter and his grandfather were the coaches. No, one more round. I said, nope. As long as he said no, he's done. I'm not going to let him go out there. Man, the next day, and nobody knew what was going on, right? The next day, about 8 a.m, him and his wife called me. And they said, Stitch, I want to thank you, man. He goes, I had nothing in me, you know. So he knew, and I knew, you know. And so that took a lot of heart and courage and knowledge to protect him. I saw him about 3 months ago when Benavidez fought here in Vegas, and I hadn't seen Andre in that time. He comes up to me, Stitch, I love you, man. Because of you, I'm speaking as well as I can, you know.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
That's a nice compliment. Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't have done that, and so that's absolutely amazing. Because if a fighter's to the point where they're saying no, they're done. Like it's one thing to have that doubt, but if now you're shaking your head no, you're done.
Yes,
like
and you're
done.
You're not. Done. Why would I let you go out there if you're not 100% mentally, physical to be ready to take that challenge on?
Especially if you're getting beaten like that, and the way you describe those punches, that means his brain. He may have woken up the next. If he did one more round, he may have woken up at 8 a.m. getting rushed to the hospital, or maybe not waking up at all. And we've seen the downside of that before. So that's.
I mean, Vladimir Klitschko. You brought up Vladimir Klitschko. My last fight with him, and as a matter of fact, he's in this documentary. They filmed him in Kiev. But the last fight with him, we fought Anthony Joshua. I hadn't seen Vladimir and Vitaly till Friday at the weigh-ins, and because my daughter Carla had gotten married in Crete Wednesday, and then Thursday I flew to England. But I'm sitting there, and you're talking about the mental game, right? I'm talking to him and Vitaly, and going through the logics, you know, this, that, what have you not. And finally I put my hand on his shoulder, Vladimir's shoulder. I said, look, don't worry about nothing tomorrow. I'm going to take care of you like you're my son. And I leave. Because you know what it's like, man. You can't sleep at nights, right?
Yep.
I'm putting the final Vaseline on him, bro, right before Michael Buffer does the announcements in front of 90,000 crazy Brits. And we're about this far apart. And he says, you could call me son. You know, and I said, wow, that gave me chills. But I knew the understanding because he knew I was there to protect him.
Yeah.
And he lost his title, but he said it was one of the best fights he ever had in his career.
Yeah.
And the last time I saw him in person was like 3 months later in Germany. And I said very simply, I said, Vladimir, that one moment, why? He says, Stitch, he goes, there's very few people I trust in my life. You are one of them.
Oh,
it's crazy.
No, that's a blessing.
Yeah, you understand because you've been there. You know, you understand. You're getting those same kind of comments. But these guys are gladiators, man. But they're all babies. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try. It's yes. You described it the best way possible.
Yeah.
The bigger, the more, the deeper they get into it, and the bigger their fights, the more you see the baby side, because it's like you live on both ends of the spectrum. You have to go in there and do some of the most brutal things.
Yeah.
That has no, and trying to explain this to people that don't ever do this, train, fight, or they're not a part of it. I'm like, you typically 9 out of 10 times, or 9.5 out of 10 times, don't even have a personal problem with the person that you're competing against. So
Never.
You got to go in there and cause the most damage you can. And you don't have a problem with this person. There's no emotional anger there. There's nothing there. You get in a street fight, it's 30 seconds. You're mad for 30 seconds. Your adrenaline kicks in, and then you can shut it off, and it's nothing. But you have to train differently, and you have to let out the most brutal side of yourself. And then, of course, you're going to see the flip side. You're going to see the biggest baby softy that you can possibly see, and that's the flip side of it. That's the best way to describe it.
Yep. Modern day gladiators.
Yes, sir.
That's all,
man. So what are your thoughts? And now I know I don't do all that drama stuff. So what are your thoughts as far as the UFC is changing the game now? They are completely changing the game, removing pay-per-view. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I haven't seen a game. I haven't seen a UFC in 10 years. I don't care.
You haven't seen one?
But you know what, huh?
You haven't seen one?
Nah,
Oh,
no
man.
interest.
Okay.
You know, the all the characters don't even know 'em, you know. But I understand, you know, the thing when I was with the UFC. See, I worked with RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company for 23 years. So I worked at the corporate structure, right? And sales and marketing and all that stuff. So I understand the corporate business. And that's what happened when the UFC went from you know, going into sponsors like Reebok and all that, because it was about business. And the same thing with this one. You know, it's what, $7.7 billion.
Yeah.
You know, and does it bring in a wider audience? Yeah, it does. You know, but I think a lot of that formula comes from like the Zone and all that. When they started bringing in, because I've done all these KSI fights, Logan Paul, KSI, and you know, and Jake Paul, and there's a whole new clientele of people that have tuned in. When I did the first KSI Logan Paul fight at the Staples Center, nobody knew who I was.
Yeah. Wow.
they all knew the trainers, you know, that were with KSI and all that. They didn't know who I was. I said, "Oh, it's a different world."
Yeah.
But that's the clientele that the UFC is going after. So, you know, and they move. I don't know. You know, I don't know how sales were before. I'm sure they're doing well, but this is pretty major, and it kind of changes the demographics of combat sports.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to change enough where you're going to see that ripple effect as far as boxing?
Well, good question, good point. They're already trying to change the Muhammad Ali Reform Act bill. Dana White and Turkey Ali Sheikh, right? And what that structure does, it the Muhammad Ali Reform Act bill was designed 2000, like 25 years ago, to protect the fighters, to make everything on the table and all that. Well, what the UFC wants to do, they want to do the same structure that they have with the UFC, where they create their own champions, right? So I'm glad you brought that up, because we'll talk about it a little bit. Nico Ali is Muhammad Ali's grandson. He's a boxer, and I've worked with him. Good kid. Biagio Ali is also Muhammad Ali's grandson. He fights for PFL, MMA. But Nico had put up a statement is that no, the Muhammad Ali Reform Act bill was there to protect the fighters. And so he's in support of it. And so am I. I'm not passing that bill because, well, and then my daughter Carla, and I'm glad you brought this up. My daughter Carla, 2 weeks ago, went to the ABC convention in New Orleans, and that's the Association of Boxing Commissions. And she got up and she spoke on behalf of the Muhammad Ali Reform Act bill. Well, Mike Massouli, that's the president of the ABC, he stopped her. He stopped her right on her tracks and, didn't let her continue and make a presentation on the features and benefits of the Muhammad Ali Reform Act. He stopped it. So this other guy, Haskell, that's a Native American from, I think they're out of a casino in Oklahoma. He got up and he spoke, and he's saying that, a decision like this should not be decided on just the board members. It needs to be decided with everybody from the ABC. He says, and my daughter recorded this, so she sent me the tape. He says, we all pay as a group. We should all vote as a group. Mike Massouli turned him off or cut him off also. Wow. So I think the politics of it's going to definitely affect it. Whether we fight it against it, and we should fight against it, it's going to pass because of the politics. Oh, wow. And so they'll be able to create their own champions. They'll be able to create their own finances and everything, just like the UFC is doing their own structure right now. That's the way they would be with boxing. And now I'm just reading where Canelo, last night. Now I'll show you. Now I'm going to say this statement right now, and there's a lot of truth to it. I knew Dana way before the UFC. I knew him. He was in the gyms doing pad work for a lot of the housewives and the executives, and he was making bank, right? So he was friends with the Fertittas, and the Fertittas are the ones that bought the UFC and made Dana the president, right? But in all fairness, in the 30 years I've been here, I never saw Dana work a corner, so I don't know how attuned he is in boxing. Well, this guy, Ali Sheikh, just mentioned yesterday that they want to have same day weigh-ins for the Canelo and the Crawford fight. And about 25 years ago, I put a film together called Boxer's Nightmare, and it dealt with all the stuff the fighters went through. And we interviewed Dr. Margaret Goodman. She was one of the ringside doctors, talking about the reason they did away with the same day weigh-ins is because it would not give your body enough time to hydrate. So it was done the day after. Now, this guy wants to do it the day before because Crawford's coming up 2 weights to fight Canelo, and so they're trying to change the structure of the game.
Wow. That's
you didn't know? Yeah, that just came out yesterday that he wants to do it as the same day weigh-in.
That would be insane. That's,
yeah.
That's dangerous.
That's right.
It's dangerous.
Yes, well, that's why it was done because of that, and there's and Dr. Goodman in this video, and I reviewed it also. She also brought up there's so many myths in this game, but one of the myths is that you lose so much water weight that it'll dehydrate the brain, the fluids in your brain. Well, that's not true, she says. For you to have dehydrated so much to lose water from your brain, because it's covered in a shell, it's covered in a skull, you would not be walking around. So that old theory that it drains you, that was a myth. So education, that's where I get all my answers from, is people that I've spoken to and have given me direct links through education.
Yeah. So that it's so weird to hear. If I think about it, if the Ali Act wasn't there, we probably wouldn't have a Floyd Mayweather. He wouldn't have been able to control his career and control his money the same way. And a lot of these other boxers, they're able to. It makes me think boxers in the NBA and NBA players have more probably say so over their careers. Baseball players too, when I think about the sports, than almost any other sport out there, because they're able to control the money a little bit more, because they have control and say so over money a little bit more. It gives them power. It gives them some leeway here in a bargaining chip.
Well, you would think so, and maybe some, but not all of them. And because these guys just don't know. When I did this film years ago, I did some surveys, and a majority of these fighters that fight have less than a high school diploma.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that when you work on an annual income, they make less than the poverty level.
This is
It's they're facts. Yeah, they're not bullshit. They're all facts. I know. You ask any young fighter. I walk into a gym. I'll do that today, and I look at all these guys, and they all have one dream, and their only dream is to become a world champ.
Yep.
And to make money. But I guarantee you, a lot of these guys won't even come close to that.
No, it's definitely.
But that's why I try to educate these fighters. I said, look, okay, a manager, you cannot have a manager, you cannot have a promoter unless you fight.
Mm-hmm.
So you are the boss. A manager is there to direct you. And do you need a manager at 33 and a third percent, or do you need an agent at 10, 15%? And that's the thing I try to educate, because if you have a manager that's hitting you up for 33 and a third percent, he ought to be paying for your house, for your rent. He ought to be, you ought to be on his payroll in the hopes that he understands that he's investing in you to make money down the road.
Yeah.
Right. So that's an investment for him. If that's not possible, then all you need is an agent, 10, 15% to make calls for you and get your sponsors.
Yeah.
So that's that's what's wrong with this game.
So if they're able to move forward with that, that's going to change the sponsorship structure and make it more like how UFC is, correct?
For boxing?
Yes, they'll be able to start doing that as well, correct?
I don't know. That's going to be their own game. I don't know. They will pass that. Just the way politics are right now, they will pass that. And even though these guys know that it's wrong, they will pass it because that's the thing to do.
Yeah.
The powers above them are big. And so expect to see what happens.
Yeah, all this happening at the same time is going to be interesting. I've been watching it and listening to people. I've been listening to you talk about it as well. And then when this 7-year, $7.5 or $7.7 billion came through, I'm like, man, how is this? I wonder if this is where boxing is headed to now. This is going to be insane. And it is going to bring more fans. And I know everybody's been talking about the pay structure and yada, yada, yada. And I don't read their contracts, so I don't know. So it's not my place to judge or talk about it. Hopefully the guys, the men and women are doing something well with their contracts, so they have the right people working with them to do the contracts. So now what's on your, what's next for you? What are the next fights? What are you doing next? I guess is the best thing.
I got a seminar. It's great because when COVID kicked in, I live 20 minutes from the MGM here in Las Vegas, and when COVID kicked in, Top Rank called me, and they were going to have 16 shows in the bubble at the MGM, 2 shows a week on ESPN. And they asked if I'd be interested in being one of the house cutmen. So me and Mike Basil became the house cutmen. And the program that I put together in the UFC with the cutmen is me and Burt Watson put that together. That's what we used. That's the system we used with Top Rank. And when COVID finished, they liked the program so much that they kept us. And so I've been doing it. In fact, I just kind of shredded like 30 old invoices from Top Rank. So I've been getting a lot of work. But this month, I'm on break. I don't want to do nothing. I ain't got no fights. Didn't look for no fights. I just needed this time off, bro. Because, like I said, I'm working now on finishing up this documentary and working on other programs outside of just wrapping hands. So it's been a blessing, just to be doing what I'm doing, and so I think September 20th, I have a seminar in Mexico. So I'm going up there to Tijuana to do a seminar. But yeah, staying busy, thank God,
Oh
and
man.
with other projects, the documentary, and like I say, just, promoting uh, the book From the Fields to the Garden and all that. So, and then I'm working with this other team that's doing some. I'm working with the Native Americans here. Well, let me explain. Let me go back. Uh, if you've been to Las Vegas, right? Everybody has.
Hmm.
So
Yes,
where
sir.
the MGM is at, across the street was the Tropicana. Well, they imploded the Tropicana and they're building the new A stadium there, right? Well, right next to it, there's the MHA tribal nation from North Dakota
Hmm.
that bought the parcel that's next to it, where they did that shooting where I think what 53, 58 people were killed at a concert. All that whole property is theirs, and they're building like a mega resort casino. And so another people I'm working with are talking about during their rodeo week here in Vegas to have a big concert celebration on their site because it's just empty property right now. So I'm working with them on that, and then they want to do some arm wrestling at the high level, and so yeah, they just call me, so we'll see what happens.
Oh man.
Yeah,
So
I go October 4th. I got that arm wrestling at the high level in Orlando, Florida. So I'll
yeah,
be up there checking that out and taking different avenues.
I got you. No, it literally
Mhm.
sounds like you are living an adventurous life. You're just sort of doing everything you want to do every day.
Hey, bro, to this day, I'm gonna show you how blessed I am. To this day, I've never asked for one job. I just can't kiss nobody's butt, man. It's just not my nature, right? But I've been blessed to the point where everything's happened. I mean, listen, I've been in 7 movies. I've been all over the world. I've been, God, I got my own plane, top trading cards. I got video games that I'm in. I mean, I got the book. I got a documentary. That's who does that? I just happen to be that guy.
Yeah, no, that sounds like an amazing life. And
Oh,
it's the one thing that is always a common theme on, and you just touched on it a little bit. It Matt Brown talked about it, and we talked about Miyamoto Musashi, and everything is within. And you just said, I'm not gonna beg anyone for anything, and I'm
yeah.
just gonna work hard. And what I love the most, and that seems to always come out with people that are successful and doing what they truly love to do, is they're doing it in service of others.
Yes.
Everything you've described is, I'm in service of someone else. I'm helping them out. I'm doing this. And and even the rewards you've described hasn't been monetary. It's been a hug here, a phone call here, a glove here, wraps that for your daughter. It's been all these other things that don't have quote unquote monetary value. And that's amazing to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's crazy. Just all the legends, the people I've worked with, the actors, and I mean everybody.
Yeah.
And you talking about all these things that you just are highly unexpected, right? Let me show you one more. Hold on.
Oh man. We have to sit down with Stitch a few times a year. Yeah, like we need to fly out.
All right.
That's
All right. So listen, Fedor Emelianenko, what do you know about him?
Other than he's one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Tremendous,
Like,
tremendous. So, what?
to be
Yeah.
that big and to be that agile and to be able to do things, that man gave me hopes. I'm a 6 foot, over 300 pound man. That man gave me hopes that I could do all kinds of stuff. So I just
Yeah.
kept wrestling and getting better. So yes, that man is the man.
So let me start off with stories, right? All right. When Josh Barnett left the UFC,
Mm-hmm.
he started fighting for Pride. So he asked me, he goes, Stitch, how much would you charge to be my cutman in Japan? So I gave him my fees, right? And we booked it. And so when we go to Japan, everybody would want me to wrap their hands because they were accustomed to that with the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh says, no, 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 no. He goes, I bring him. I pay you to bring him. If you wanted to wrap your hands, it's $500. Man, that'd make like 2,000-3,000 like this, right? I mean, it takes me 15 minutes per hand or per
Yeah.
fighter, right? So, so anyway, Fedor Emelianenko, the promoter, comes and asks me. He had just come back from breaking his thumb. This was his first fight back. And he asked if I could wrap his hands. And yeah, of course, he was like a living legend at that point, still is, So I went into his room, and I've worked with the Klitschko's enough Russians to know that they're real quiet. So I'm wrapping Fedor's hands, okay, open, close, and how they feel and all that. So finally I finished wrapping, okay, how do they feel? He goes, like this, super, super. Bro, that's all he said. I walked out, my feet were touching the ground and all that. And after that, him and his brother Alexander, I'm the one that always wrapped their hands. So anyway, my last fight with Bellator, it was at San Jose. I'm getting into the hotel from the airport, and he's, how everybody hangs out in the lobby and all that. And when he's there with his team, he comes up to me and gives me a hug. Fedor gives me a hug. He says, I have sweats for you. I said, what? So he sent a guy up to his room, bro. Look at this shit.
Oh my goodness.
Who gets that? Right?
That's amazing.
Look. Who gets
Hey,
that?
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm telling you, man, those are the moments, but these moments are because, well, like Fedor, he thought about me when he was having that done in Russia, and same with Brock, when Brock gave me because I told Brock, I said, man, I like your shirt, putting his gloves on. And he had remember that beef jerky sponsorship and all that?
Yep.
He goes, oh, I packed one for you. And I'm putting his gloves on him. He goes, oh, I packed one for you. He goes, no, my wife did. She says, as she's packing my clothes, should I get one for Stitch? And he says, yeah. So he threw a shirt in there for me. And, but moments like that, Tito Ortiz comes up to ringside and brings me a personalized shirt, and those are special because those are moments when we're not around them, but they're enough for them to have enough respect to think about me.
Well, you're the coach, a coach or cornerman, like whatever someone wants to call them. They're the pilot. I always say they're the pilot in the fight. It's their job. They get to see it from afar, and you got to have a great relationship. You got a fighter co-pilot situation going on there, but the cut man, it's especially at that high level, you're the angel. You're the person that can stop the bleeding. You're the person that makes them feel safe when you're wrapping their hands. You're the person that gives them the biggest comfort. And I love hearing, I just love hearing how all these different fighters appreciate you so much, because I could see the passion come out of you when you're talking about wrapping their hands and doing the dress rehearsals and figuring different things out. And oh man, this is amazing. This is
they're all true, bro.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. Yeah. Corey and I just said, like, we're ready to come next. I want to make sure that we can continue to do this a few times a year, and we want to fly out there. Like I want to come out there and sit down with you, because this is awesome. It's almost like I can't wait for the movie. I cannot wait for this movie.
Yeah, the movie is pretty good, man. So real quick, I told you I grew up as a farm worker, right? So I went back home and I showed it to the ones I grew up with, and just a private screening. And but the thing about it is, we walked from the hotel to the theater. It's like a 7-minute walk on Main Street to kind of represent Cesar Chavez, that was the leader for the farm workers when they did the famous walk from Delano, California to the state capitol. So we did that as a tribute to them, so
man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So no, it's been a blessing, bro.
Okay. I have one last question for you before we end this.
Sure.
The podcast is called You Control You, and it's been my message for a very long time. Like, we are in control of our life, and we all have different moments in our life where maybe we're not driving the wheel, and other people, like when we're kids, our parents are really the one driving the wheel, and we grow up, and if you're a knucklehead like me, you do gangs and different things, and other people are driving the wheels, and you got to learn how to take control of that car and take control of you. For you, you've already, I think I already know where it's going to go, but we'll see. What was that moment or moments where you're like, okay, I have to take control of my life. I need to start steering my wheel right now. I need to drive it. The direction I am going in isn't the direction that I want to continue going in. What was your you control you moment?
Yeah, it was that, and I always tell people it's that one line we're all scared to cross, right? So it's the same theory.
Mm-hmm.
And but the real defining moment on where I am now was when I was back home when I had my school of kickboxing, ASK. I worked for RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company, so I was with them for 23 years. I had my school of kickboxing. You know, I'd like say after work, I'd go and train fighters and kids and all that till 9 at night. But I wanted to follow my dreams and make the move to Vegas. So I put in for a job transfer with RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company, and I waited and I waited, and you know, they called me out of nowhere and says, "Look, man, there's an opening in Las Vegas." But you got to be there in a week. We couldn't do a week, man. I called the manager here, and he gave me 2 weeks. And I swear, in 2 weeks, I transferred my school to my student, Randy Bussard. I sold my house. I took a dump, lost some money, put my family in a U-Haul and drove 9 hours to Las Vegas, to the point where I called my mom and said, "Look, I got a new number." And then to top it off, in the transition, the position that was open was a secondary position, where it was like $25,000 a year less pay than that. But my family and my wife and all, they all supported me to come over here and follow my dreams. And you know, then it came to the point where at that point it was only boxing, where they were downsizing, so they paid me a year with full benefits and everything, RJ Reynolds, to leave. So in that year I literally focused on making what I'm doing now. And but that was that one moment where either I make it or break it.
Yeah.
And thank God, with all family support and all that, and everything goes to them. Yeah, you can see I ain't got no. Well, I got a shitload of watches because of my sponsors, but I'm very simple.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everything. Whenever I get like a big residual check from the Creed movies or something, I share it with all my kids.
Oh man, that's awesome.
This video that I have for $50, the money that comes in, I share it with my kids. It's
Yeah.
not for me. It's not about income. Uh, it's about doing the best thing you can with what you have.
Yes, sir.
And I think I've done pretty good. And in closing, you were talking about fighters, cutmen coming in as a different category. Juan Manuel Marquez, I did an interview with him, former world champ in Guadalajara, and he asked me a question in Spanish. He goes, "Has a fighter ever disrespected you?" And I thought, no, because my job is different than a coach. My job is to come take care of you. Why would you want to mess with me, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'll poke your eye. Yeah, I'll pay you back. Yeah, sure. I'll let blood get in your eyes. Sure, that's fine. Can't
Oh
stop it.
man.
So I come in under different circumstances.
Oh yeah. Actually, that made me think of one more question, and then I'm done with my questions and let you go back to your wife and enjoying life. So in movies, you always see some different scenes, and it's always the cut man, right? It's I'm trying to think, maybe I think it was the Creed movie where the ref is asking him to see the numbers or something like that, and then the tap. And so, but I've never been a part of that. I've never, we've gotten smashed pretty bad in the corner before, or, whatever, whatever. Have those moments ever happened in real life where you are like guiding the fighter to make sure the fight doesn't get stopped right now or anything like that?
Now, it's funny you bring that up because I told Sylvester Stallone this. I said, man, you know how many times I have had to dispel that myth of cut me Mick? I said, that
Oh
doesn't
yeah, I can't
happen.
imagine that
Yeah,
happening.
yeah, okay. I said, because, keep in mind now, the eye is swollen shut and cut me Mick. If you cut it, number one, you're not a surgeon. Number two, you're performing surgery in a filthy place. And number
Yeah,
three, now you're going to get blood in the eyes. So
yeah,
that's a triple negative, right? Well, in this Creed movie, Ryan Coogler, the director, came up to me and said, Stitch, what do you think? And it's non-existent. I mean, once if a doctor comes in and
yep,
your eye is closed, you're not going to fight, right?
yeah,
But Ryan Coogler says, "What do you think?" I said, "Fuck, let's do it." So yeah, how many fingers is it? One, two. One, two, three.
yeah, yeah.
And when we did the premiere, all these actors are at the theater and Schwarzenegger and all these people, they all start clapping, yay! So that was a pitiful moment, but it doesn't happen, And if you let your fighter go out there with his eye completely closed, you're a fool.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, even the Joanna fight,
Yeah,
and her head was like really swollen. I was like, these doctors must not. It must not be. There must be no chance of long-term damage here if they're going to continue to let her fight like that. Because I'm like, whenever I see movies like Cut Me Mick, like Rocky, Cut Me
yeah,
Mick,
yeah.
or in the Creed movie, I'm like, most refs stop the fight early now. They don't
Yep.
they don't let it go on and let you just continue to get smashed. So no, that's awesome.
Yeah, and real quick before we head off, regarding the Creed movies, right? So in the script, my name was Marcel. And see,
Mm-hmm.
people don't know that. But when it was, I said, I don't know, no more, I don't know anybody named Marcel. So I'm going to try to figure out how to change that. But when it was time for Rocky to introduce us to Adonis, Sylvester Stallone says, "Oh, this is Stitch, the best cut man in Philadelphia." And bro, at that point, my heart just started thumping
Oh
because
man.
yeah, he's the one that kept it. The next day, I thanked him. He goes, "No," he goes, "it has to be authentic." And so, yeah. And then there's another part when you remember when Rocky got sick and he threw up. Okay,
Yes.
Michael B. Jordan, he's doing patch for him. Well, in the movie, we had just left, and we're filming in Philadelphia, and the gym is on the second floor,
Mm-hmm.
and it's snowing outside in Philadelphia. So we were on the stairs going down outside, and I don't know what the scene is, but all of a sudden I hear Stitch, and I kind of move. I said, "Nah, maybe it's part of the movie." So that's when Michael picked up Stallone,
Mm-hmm.
and well, the next day I'm wrapping Michael's hands because every day it's just Michael and I, and I
Mm-hmm.
treat him like a fighter, and that's why, he told me you're with me as long as you want. But I said, Mike, I said, that part, I said, I don't kiss nobody's butt, but that part right there was very serious, and I'm going to tell you why, because in the movie you had seen we had just left, and you know that my job was to take care of you. So that situation with Rocky when he got sick, you yelled out my name because I had
Oh
just left.
yeah.
And that it wasn't in the script. It was just something that he ad libbed, but that's in the movie. You
No,
know.
that's wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
incredible.
Yeah. So bless his heart, man.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's Stitch. Thank you so much, man. This
Of course.
is I am I am a nerd when it comes to combat sports. I love watching film. I love studying it. I love learning about it and just listening to you. The passion, just the love for this shit, man. Like it just resonates. And the fact that you love fighters and you love people. If the best way I can describe it is I'm a player's coach, right? Because I used to fight.
Yes.
I've gotten my head smashed in. I've suffered the losses. I've enjoyed the wins. I've put my family through hell of training camps. And so not at that level, not in front of 90,000 people, but gone through it. And so I consider myself a player's coach. I understand the life, and listening to you talk about it,
Yep.
man, you are a blessing. And thank you so much because you literally are an angel on everyone's shoulders. And it shows. It shows just in the way they think about, like you said, the way they think about you when they're not around you, the way
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
treated and the respect. And sir, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for going through all the technical difficulties.
Yeah.
And I would feel honored if we can do this again. Like, truly honored. I really mean it. Like, I want to come out there and then just sit down with you some more if that's possible in the future, sir.
Of course. And, this film I put together like 25 years ago, Boxer's Nightmare, I'll share it with you because I never did nothing with this film. Well, if you got a quick moment.
Yeah.
What happened is I did an interview in a magazine, and where I always wanted to teach. That's the martial arts in me, is to be a teacher, right? And where I always wanted to teach, and talking about making videos for Rapping Hands and all that. This young kid, John Barnhouse, had just graduated from the American Film Institute, and he contacted me and says, "Hey, look, I just graduated. Like to help you out, good experience and all that." So we did. We got some interviews that we put that film together, and we never did nothing with it because I was nobody, and I went after HBO, Showtime. They looked at me like, "Who are you? Larry Merchant?" Nah, I don't want to look at it. So anyway, John passed away about a year and a half ago, and I hadn't seen this film in over 20 years. But when I looked at it, it blew me away because everybody that I interviewed now are all Hall of Famers. Half of them are already dead, right? But I got the best of the best of the best of the best. Mike Tyson before he got his tattoos, Fernando Vargas, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, the doctor, the ringside physicians, Dr. Goodman, Dr. Homansky. I had Richard Steele, Joe Cortez, Mills Lane, Doc Brodus, Joe Lewis's daughter. All these legends that I got, and they spoke about the issues that were affecting boxing then. And I look at it and I'm thinking, shit, what was affecting then now is affecting MMA. So what I want to do once I finish, they finish my documentary, I want to start doing some reshooting of current fighters now, especially MMA, because it's affecting MMA fighters.
Yeah.
Dementia pugilistica, the slurred speech, the contracts, the dehydration, everything that these guys talked about, everything we have, issues, these guys had answers. And so, yeah, we'll get together. If you guys come down and maybe we could have a sit down chat and we'll talk about this film and this situations that not only affect boxing, but MMA now.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Would absolutely love that.
Balls in your court, bro.
Oh, man. No, we'll make that happen. And thank you so much again, sir. Enjoy your day. Thank you for getting up early with us. Appreciate you very much. And continue to have a blessed life, man.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right. Peace.
Until then. Bye.
Shit, I'm about to go wait in this place when you dropping the bass in. The beat inside the streets of awaken. I'm making to break my foot off of somebody's ass. I'm waiting for someone to say my name so I can annihilate them. Okay, then everyone was screaming the rape when I was kicking at the gate till it caved in. Belly scraping by, but now I'm paid. Look at the paper I raked and I'm caking like Jay-Z and Drake. And I hate when people say that I ain't killing shit. The game is my playpen. I punch you in the face and end up breaking your break bands. I'm far from Hollywood. I'm posted up at the days in. Even though the industry say I'm the latest sensation. Drop the song at the board show. They're coming complacent. Mama saw me on TV with just a bum in the basement. You would catch the save. I hold you just I fuck your baby mama in the